Hi everyone, I'm Elaine from Have Halal Travel, one of the largest travel and lifestyle platforms in Southeast Asia for Muslims. So for Have Halal Travel, we worked with many global brands catering halal food, FMCG for the market. And despite the COVID-19 pandemic, the CAGR for the halal food industry is expected between 2019 and 2014 to 2024 to actually reach 1.38 trillion as forecasted in the latest SGIE report. So this is actually a really huge industry that presents many opportunities, which a lot of brands have been working very creatively during this pandemic time to actually tap on it, especially for post-COVID-19. And one of the great instances would really be the demand for certain food products during this time, especially that we are unable to travel. So international foods have a very, very strong appeal to the market because the audience are unable to travel. Food is really one of the ways that have taken over their urge to travel, and they have been actively traveling through the type of food that they eat. So thanks to the huge popularity of Korean dramas, K-pop, Korea has always been one of the popular travel destinations among our audience. And of course, during this time, they can't visit Korea and all. It has also contributed to a very huge rise and interest in Korean foods, as well as many of these household brands like Nongshim, Tatoro, Lotte having halal certified products that actually cater for the rising Muslim segment and the demand right now. So we see it, in our content when we reach out to our audience. Many people are actually learning how to make different type of K foods with like Korean noodles, with the sauces and the seasoning. And today we're actually very happy to invite Datuk Matthew Lee to share more about the rising demand of halal Korean products, and also how KMT Group has actually come in to fill the gaps in the market. So Datuk Matthew Lee is the founder of Korean Malaysia Trade, which is a KMT group of companies, as well as the chief executive officer of the group. And he began his business in 1994 as a trading company and expanded, as a distributor of FMCG from South Korea and Malaysia. With over 25 years of experience, KMT Group is now the largest platform in distributing Korean food and beverages, as well as they're known for being the pioneer in promoting international trade between Korea and Malaysia. So without further ado, happy to invite Datuk Matthew Lee to share more about this.
Hello, you want me to start myself?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna talk to me something.
안녕하세요.
My name is Matthew Lee. I'm chairman and CEO of the KMT Group, and I am the founder of the Korean food distributor in Malaysia. Well, I have started my business since 1994, but in the very beginning, I was not actually handling Korean food. I was handling some other Korean products. But when it comes to 1997, there was an economic crisis. Then my former business was quite tough. And from that day, I realized the food business is quite stable, even though economic crisis. Just like currently, even the pandemic, COVID-19, our business is still going on. So 1998, I have started to bring in the Korean food products to Malaysia market. The beginning was very small. I was very young, and I was just start to carry some of my favorite Korean food to Malaysia. I believe what I like, my friend or maybe Malaysians like our Korean food products. Beginning, the range was quite small. We have started bringing a little quantity of the Korean instant noodle and biscuits, snacks, and some of Korean beverages. Then we have started to also supply to the small retailers like mini markets and some of the supermarkets. Then slowly we have continued carrying our food products to the Malaysian market. Then I found out that many Malaysians they really actually like our Korean foods. They like our taste, and they like about our flavors, and even they like our some of packagings. By the time the Korean food was not really that popular, so it was not very big. But we able to carry because of the some people's keen about our Korean food products. Then we've been carrying for a few years to increase our product range, but I have noticed that there was importance of the halal in Malaysia. There are more than 70% of populations are Muslims in Malaysia. So we need to, and we have to carry halal certified Korean food products. But by the time there was no any idea about halal in Korea, and the people doesn't aware anything about halal certifications. So I have to start promote about importance of the halal in Korean market, and I have tried to persuade the Korean food industry to getting halal certifications. But definitely it was not easy because there are totally have no idea about what halal. Then they're also asking about the size of the market, and they're also asking about the quantity of the goods. So it was quite tough for me in the very beginning to develop the halal food products in Korea. So I have started working out with some Korean agencies like AT and KOTRA. They are one of the Korean government agency to develop Korean products. So we have worked up together with the agencies to promote about halal in Korea. Then we also try to develop halal authorities in Korea, which called KMF. They are the body to give a certification of the halal food products. So we need support from Korean agency, and at the same time, we also need the support from the Malaysia halal body, which called JAKIM. So JAKIM is the one of the it's no one, it's only one halal authority body in Malaysia, which is the government body. I believe it was about 2012. There was the changes of the Halal Act, and this new Halal Act requires if most of the product need to implement the SOP of the halal followed by Halal Act. So from that day, we also realized by ourselves, how important of the halal. So we work more aggressively to working up with the government agency to promote about halal. Then slowly, some of the Korean food manufacturers are getting to aware about halal, and they're getting to know about this. So I start to receive many calls and inquiries about how to get halal certifications. So I have started to working up more harder to let people to know how to getting halal certifications. And throughout this effort, we start getting the halal certification products from Korea. And one of the, I believe, a highly recognized product is a Korean instant noodle. I believe this, which is very popular nowadays. So Nongshim corporations in Korea, which is a manufacturer about Shinramen and kimchi ramens, or this. So they are one of the big Korean food industry and corporate to getting halal certifications from KMF. So throughout these, start other food industry also getting aware about halal, and they are also getting the halal certification follow up. So starting from our instant noodle, it has developed to our Korean kimchi and seaweed and Korean teas, and many more halal certified Korean food products are manufactured, and we start to bring into Malaysia to develop, and we develop the market and expand our business in Malaysia. Then okay, sorry. What is? Oh, So from there, we have aware about Malaysian halal markets. So we have started to organizing some of the participating the halal exhibitions and promoting the exhibition of Korean fair with the halal food products to let more local people to know about the certification of Korean halal products. So with that, more Korean companies are also keen to about Malaysian market, and they are coming to Malaysia. They're coming over to Malaysia to develop our Korean food industry in Malaysia. So this is all about how we have gone through and coming up to today to develop our Korean food product into Malaysian market. And currently, like our instant noodle, from instant noodle to kimchi and ice creams and like banana milk is now currently very popular among the Malaysian Muslim consumers.
Thank you so much for sharing with us. I think it was very interesting and insightful to see how the group has kind of started and to learn more about how you've overcome some of the obstacles to actually provide us with the huge range of halal certified Korean food products that we see at the moment. So, just wanted to also understand more since, Dato, you've been doing this for 25 years already. When you first started KMT Group and when you first started the whole halal certification, how has the demand for Korean food changed, across the past few years?
Well, in generally, the demand of the Korean food has been increased in terms of the quantity and in terms of the market and the range of the products. It has been the demands getting more and more. So let's say we're talking about the market. Last time we used to supply to supermarkets, but nowadays there's a mini markets and even CVS. They are all carrying our Korean food products, and mostly the demand was coming from the capital city of the Kuala Lumpur, but nowadays from Penang, Johor, East Coast, even East Malaysia as well. So then one of the importance is the Korean food products now has many halal certified products. So it brings the big attraction to the Malaysian Muslim consumers. So from there, our markets are getting more bigger and wider.
Yeah, I think it's pretty similar to what we've seen also, especially with the rise of Korean dramas. You see them eating all the Korean foods and everything. So amongst like all these different products that you carry and you do, like, is there any one a type of product or certain type of products that you see are actually increasing more in popularity over the others?
During this pandemic, what I can say is Korean gochujang. Gochujang is a Korean chili paste, which is not standalone except to, it needs to cook with other materials. So this gochujang was surprisingly very popular during the pandemic. I found out that many Malaysians are start cooking Korean food at their house. So this is
Yeah.
one of the quite
I think because they
popular.
watch the dramas and all, they want to make it for themselves, especially because they can't,
Yes,
visit Korea during this time and all that.
yes. The main influential was from the K drama,
Mm.
like K music and K pop. So,
Ah,
which is influenced to many Malaysian peoples, and from there they're getting to know about Korean cultures, and they also understanding about Korean sense of the Korean food is like a spicy, but I believe Malaysian accept the spicy taste.
yes, indeed. So, in your opinion, when did Muslim consumers actually start looking for Korean food choices, and why do you think they did so?
Well, it was actually a quite long story. I believe about more than 20 years ago, there was a one Korean drama was very big hit in Malaysia, which name is Winter Sonata. So after Winter Sonata, Malaysians start to keen about Korean drama and to watching Korean movies. So follow up, there was also another Korean drama was a hit in the Malaysian market, which called Daejanggum, means it's a jewel in the palace, which is talking about Korean food history, which is serving to the king. So follow up, there were many Korean dramas and Korean movies is talking about Korea, and then people are getting understanding more about Korea. Then I believe one of the Korean variety show called Running Man, and also one of the variety show called what 1박 2일, 1 night 2 days. Do you know about that? So this kind of variety show is very close to Malaysian people to getting a laugh and knowing about the Korean food and how the Korean people living. So this is one of the main factor to influence the Malaysian people to knowing about Korean food and finding about the Korean foods and want to try the Korean foods.
Yeah, definitely. I can also, I mean, I also know all the dramas and varieties that you mentioned. So definitely, very huge in popularity. So talking about, how Korean dramas, K-pop has actually increased like the demand and introduced the culture and the food to the market. How, like, where do you foresee and what, does KMT Jaya actually have in plans, be it expanding like the range of products that you already carry and all that? Maybe you can share a bit of what we can see to expect from the group as well.
My key role of the business and as a Korean Malaysia, living in Malaysia, I will try to develop more Korean food to getting a certifications to to have more Malaysian to enjoy about the Korean halal food products. And I believe the world is getting closer and globalized. So one day we will all enjoy, there's no difference. Maybe morning breakfast, you will have a Western, lunch, you will have a Malaysia, maybe dinner, you will have a Korean food as well.
Yes, I think, indeed, food always brings people together, we exchange cultures and everything. So I think, one last thing, just wanted to understand also from your perspective, do you have any advice for, companies that are actually looking to come into this, Korean food companies that want to cater for the Muslim market? What kind of advice from your experience would you give to them?
Oh, okay. The first thing is the same thing like Malaysia was getting to know about Korea. So I always encourage them and always recommend them, please study more about Malaysia. What do you know about Malaysia? And if you come to Malaysia, you will be very surprised because Malaysia, the living standard is getting higher and higher. Then the people are getting access more faster and faster. So the demand of the standard of the food quality and demand of the halal food products and demand of the trends. So once they're getting to know more about and study more about Malaysia, I believe they are willing to develop more halal certified food products to the Malaysian market.
Thank you so much. So yeah, I think really thank you for your insightful opinions as well, and how KMT has actually introduced so many different halal Korean food products, and I think it's definitely a very interesting thing for many of the brands who are looking to enter the halal food industry and how they can actually start doing so. So thank you for sharing again, and we actually look forward to more offerings from KMT Jaya as well.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
Ellen.
so much, Dato' Mathuli. Thank you.